All right, my babes. Thanks for jumping on live for those who are live, and hello to anyone who's going to tune in and watch the replay. So, start by just prefacing this call that this is absolutely 100% the pep talk for Bootcamp. We haven't actually started Bootcamp because who the hell can do anything or get in any kind of a routine on school holidays? So, I know you guys who have got grown-up babies online already are like, yeah, been there, done that. But for anyone who's still got children on school holidays, oh my God, I had so many plans for today of what I was going to do to get organised for this call. And Taylor was supposed to go to her dad's on Friday last week. She's still with me. So then I've got all this mum guilt about her sitting on her iPad for the last 3 days straight while I'm working. And so I'm inviting all these friends over. Then I'm like, shit, I've got to feed them. I've got to look after them. They're in the pool. I've got to watch them. And I've got to manage clients. And I've got to do treatment plans. Basically, today ended up, or the last 3 days has ended up a bit of a shit show, which is why bootcamp officially starts next week. So for anyone who's watching that doesn't know me, what you see is what you get. I think I pride myself on just being the most honest, authentic person you'll ever get. I definitely don't have my shit sorted. I'm a hot mess in so many ways. I yeah, like I said, was planning on having this full thing organized for you guys, but it's all going to be off the cuff now. But that's always perfect too. So
Mhm.
welcome. So Bootcamp 2026. What I want to start with is by laying, I guess, in planting some seeds as to what to expect for this year, because there's a few of you guys online that have been here and done it before, and I love that. I love that you keep coming back for more. That means I can't be too much of a hot mess. But I make it bigger and better every year. I add to it based on what I feel is missing, based on what, people are still struggling with their health, where there's misinformation, where there's gaps in the education. So this is what we're going to be being on. So what is 100% included in the price of bootcamp for our new entries is 2 new tests. And I want to run over those. But I want to start by just really talking into, and I talk into this every single year, but every single weekly session as well, the nervous system. Like the nervous system, and when you guys can learn to understand your nervous system inside and outside, is going to be the most important thing, because your nervous system, if you are stretched, and anyone who's going through perimenopause is stretched whether they like it or know it or not. But basically, also coming back to our neural pathways and our belief systems. We do so much work on that through bootcamp, because we can go into bootcamp all guns blazing with all the best intentions about I'm going to eat clean and I'm not going to drink wine during the week and I'm going to exercise and I'm going to do Pilates 4 days a week. I'm feeling all of that. I'm speaking at myself right now because I feel like January's 3/4 gone and I've not stuck to any of the little New Year's resolutions that I set myself, because life's busy. And guess what happens when life's busy? We automatically default back to our weakest link, to our belief systems, but to what is easy and manageable. And so, whilst trying to run a household, have kids at home through school holidays, plus run a business and paying bills, there's been certain things that I just haven't been able to make space for. So, I did my first Pilates class this morning in like a month. I'm human. I'm just as reckless as everyone else, because I always like to be really open and honest about that. I've made massive achievements with my health, and I'm so, so proud of what I've overcome and what I've really healed from, with my polycystic ovarian syndrome, being told at age 27 that I would never conceive naturally, having been 14 kilos heavier at one point in my life than what I am now. I have achieved a lot, but I haven't necessarily done it in a really pretty fashion. I've done it through sometimes survival mode, and I've done it through just deep knowledge and commitment and consistency and just a deep desire to feel my best. So I hope that that inspires you guys. And the message for that is, don't beat yourself up. Don't try and be perfect all the time. Life's going to happen. Life's going to throw shit at you. And if we are always doing something every single day to benefit ourselves, it is something's better than nothing. And I think too many of us put too much pressure on ourselves, and we go, well, I didn't follow the bootcamp program exactly to a T, so I failed already. Well, stuff it. I'll just fall off the wagon and I won't even bother doing anything this week. I'll start again Monday. Well, guess what? The same shit show is going to come around Monday. The same pressures, the same bills, the same responsibilities, the same poor time management. And so we get to this point where we're like that hamster on the wheel, and we're going round and round in circles. We're never getting anywhere. And all we're doing along the way is beating ourselves up more and more and more, damaging our self-esteem and our self-worth, because we're telling ourselves how bad and how wrong and how useless and how hopeless that we are. and nothing changes. So boot camp is about celebrating the small wins. I throw a lot at you through boot camp. Okay, you'll see your workbook, and I'm going to run you through that in a moment. There's a lot in there, but guess what? You get a free get out of jail card that you don't have to do it all, but you just have to do something. You have to be making a conscious decision every single week to be doing something that feels beneficial for you physically, spiritually, or emotionally. So our nervous system is the foundation. It is module 1 in boot camp. And so we give you some exercises to help calm and regulate your nervous system, and simple things like taking a moment to breathe when we're stressed, all those little things. But I can't, I guess, emphasize how important it is, because the reality is, through the course of boot camp, like I said, life's going to throw all its shit at you. There's going to be random stuff that you didn't plan for. And when that hits, you're going to default back to your unhealed childhood wounds, your core beliefs about how you truly feel about yourself, and all that suppressed emotional baggage that we've been carrying. It's what's going to run the show when life be's life and life keeps on lifing. So I want you to, first and foremost, if you do nothing through bootcamp other than master your nervous system, then you've already kicked a million goals and won. Because over time, when we implement the nervous system tools consistently, eventually our stress response improves. Life's still going to throw the same shit at you, but how you react and how you recover to the stress changes. And I had a massive thing on a couple of days ago. A software that I use in my clinic, Oligo Scan. It's very expensive equipment. Cost me nearly $100 to do a scan. I didn't pay my bill for a couple of months. Not going to lie, my fault, bad by me. But anyway, I ended up getting an email from them. They cut me off, and then they basically told me that because I'd not paid my bill, they had changed my core price of it being $100 a scan to $175 a scan. And because even though I've been a loyal user for like over 10 years. And so I spiraled for a moment. Well, at the moment I charge $100, I don't make any profit off scanning people, because, for example, if someone comes in for an oligo scan, it costs them $175. So the $75 is the appointment they spend on me. The scan's kind of just at cost price. When I got the email telling me it was going to cost me $175 for the scan, I was like, I spiraled from it in like, no one's going to come and see me. Who's going to be able to afford to see naturopath? No one can afford that. How am I going to do this? And I spiraled for a while, and I had like the most intense anxiety. Trent got home from work, and I was just like, like just having a full meltdown. And he was like trying to fix the problem. What do you need? Have you emailed? I'm like, of course I fucking emailed them. Like I was like, but within half an hour, I went and laid on my bed, because my bed's my happy place. And I laid there for a while, and I went through the processes that I teach in bootcamp. And within half an hour, I was like, oh, I don't give a fuck, whatever. And then I ended up getting an email from them going, no, don't worry. I'll talk to head office. We can change this for you. Thanks for, and I paid the bill, blah, blah, blah. And it was all sorted. But I spiraled from 0 to 100, but I only stayed in the spiral for a good 30 minutes. Before we know it, I'm back to normal. And it's like, okay, cool, we're fine. No big deal. And then Trent got home from the gym, because he got out of the house, because he was like, okay, I can see I'm not helping her. I just need to get out of here. He come back from the gym, kind of almost tiptoeing in. Is everything okay? Did you? And I was like, yeah, we're good, fine. What do you want for dinner? Shit. Welcome to the feminine, right? Like, we change. It's emotional. We're up, we're down, we're all these sorts of things. But this point of the story is I moved through a massive stress, a massive trigger, because financially I couldn't have, I didn't know how I could make my business work that way. And so it was just an example of how I went to my bed. I just Psych K process on myself. I just talked to myself, what's the worst thing that can happen here? How do I get through this? I did the breathwork exercise, and I came out of it. And so that is what I want to remind you guys. Stress doesn't have to ruin and rule our life, because usually old Stacey would have also eaten a block of chocolate through that process. And I didn't have the urge to eat the chocolate. So the point of the story is, bootcamp is a lifestyle choice. It's not just this quick fix program that you're going to do and you're going to be on your best behavior while you're in bootcamp. It is me teaching you skills that you're going to use for life. So that's one example there. So for our newbies who are entering bootcamp, for our existing bootcampers, one of the first things that I want you guys to do is I want you to log into the education portal at thebalanceacademy.com.au, and I want you to download the latest program guide. Your program guide is your Bible. It's the steps that we follow week to week, month to month. Now, another little change that's come in this bootcamp, because once upon a time, bootcamp was an 8-week program. You might still see some marketing somewhere getting around. Last round, bootcamp was a 12-week program. Logical, Stacey has realized that is the most unrealistic thing that I could do to anyone, because the reality is what we have to do. If you guys have been drawn to me, it's because you guys are probably quite motivated with your health already. You're probably doing a lot of really healthy things, and you probably have a lot of knowledge around health, but for whatever reason, you haven't quite healed what's going on, whether it be weight that won't budge, whether it be food addictions, whether it be really bad, neurological things, autoimmune conditions, chronic period problems. There is no quick fix. And so for me to make Bootcamp a 12-week program is just basically taking the piss out of everyone. This is a lifelong program. So you guys have lifetime access to Bootcamp, as I've always said, but we're not putting this 12-week express system on it. And I did that originally because I wanted you guys to have action and be taking action to try and keep up. But what I've realized, that just stresses your nervous system. So if you're going to follow a guideline, Bootcamp's a 6-month program. But really, it's not even a 6-month program. It's a lifelong commitment to you just doing the best you can with your health and making the best decisions that you possibly can. And it doesn't matter how long Bootcamp takes. You're not racing against the clock. Your membership's not going to expire. You're here forever. And so I want you to use your own discernment, obviously with my guidance, at the speed of which you move through the modules. Some of you may stay in module number 1, the nervous system, for a week, because you've been there, done it, and you master it and you find them quite easy and you learn all the tools quickly and you start implementing them and it's easy for you. And so you go, cool, I'm ready for module 2. I can add more onto the load. Some of you may stay in module 1, the nervous system regulation, for 2 months. Again, I want you to be accountable. I'm going to keep you accountable. I don't care if it takes you 2 months, as long as you're still actively doing that primer breath at least a few times a week. But if you're doing nothing and just hanging around in module 1 for 3 months, well, that's not going to work. You're just not going to get the results. It's not about me. I'm not taking any responsibility for your results. I'm done beating myself up about that. I know with my hand on my heart that I'm giving you absolutely everything. And for many years in my practice, I've taken responsibility for people's results. And I realize that just creates people a gateway for people to make excuses and then come back and blame it on me. And I actually really traveled this really deeply last year. I had 3 clients abuse the fuck out of me because they didn't get results, and I pandered to it. I allowed them to blame me. I took responsibility for it when I could not have done anything more, but I didn't empower them enough because I allowed them to stay in their story of their lack of action and their excuses, and me trying to fix it for them the whole way. That, of course, I was the only easy target. I'm not doing that again, because you don't benefit from it. I don't benefit from it. And then I went into a deep depression for about 3 months and shut Bootcamp down 3 months over. Literally from September to December last year, I didn't even want to run Bootcamp again. Trent was so worried about me to the point that I didn't want to be a naturopath anymore. I was shutting down my clinic and actually going to become a full-time cryptocurrency trader. I was walking away completely. I had no desire to work in naturopathy at all because of how much it hurt, these 3 particular situations. But everything happens for us, and everything that happens for us happens for a reason. And with the space and giving myself a few months off, I was able to sit back and see the lesson and then take the responsibility of where I was enabling these clients and where I was allowing them, because I wasn't setting boundaries and I was available for them to answer their calls, at Sunday afternoons and early hours Saturday mornings, and there was no boundary set. So this is why Bootcamp looks a little bit different now. So I will not take any responsibility for your results, but I will give you everything you need. If you come to me and ask me for help, I'm there. If you have a question, I'm there. If you post a question in the group, I'm going to create a video response to it. I'm going to give you everything, but you're taking the steps and you're in charge. And that's what's really, really important for me and for your lifelong growth. And I just feel that so deeply in my heart. So with that, also, so there can be no question marking. Another big fault that I found that I was falling into was that I wanted to help people and make it as affordable as possible for people. And so I'd go, let's just figure it out and we'll try this and we'll try that, we'll try that. No, we're not doing that anymore. They're bloody expensive tests, and it pisses me off that Medicare doesn't cover them. the hormone test that you guys will be doing as part of Bootcamp, it's a $400 test. Like I said, pisses me off that our government doesn't acknowledge this stuff, because blood tests to look at your hormones, complete and utter waste of time. But it's a urine test, and then you take 4 saliva tests to look at your hormones. It is the most in-depth test. Let me actually share screen quickly and show you it while I'm doing this, because it is the most in-depth test that you will ever come across. Just, why not? This one. Okay, cool. So this is, no, that's the wrong one. This one. So this is like I said, it looks into deep depth about your, sorry, I got off it. I don't know what I'm doing. Looks at all our hormones. Okay. It looks at all our cortisol readings, morning, mid-morning, afternoon, evening. It looks at the way our body is processing and breaking down our hormones. It looks at all our estrogen pathways, not just E2. E2 is what your doctor will test when they do a blood test, and they're testing what is circulating around your body right then and there on the spot. What we're looking at here with this test, we're looking at E2, E1, and E3. We're also looking at all the estrogen metabolism pathways. So we can look at the different estrogen metabolism pathways, and the ones that are broken down, meaning that you're more susceptible to cancers. So we're going deep. We're looking at everything under a microscope with a fine-tooth comb, because I want all the information, and I want to know that I've given you absolutely everything to understand your body inside and out. And I want to know that we're doing everything possible to prevent you from things like breast cancer and ovarian cancer. So it looks at all the estrogen metabolism pathways. It looks at all the endocrine disruptors that block your endocrine hormone receptors that cause lots of problems. It looks at all our progesterone pathways. It looks at all our androgen pathways. This is like our testosterone. These are things that cause hormonal acne and rage and anger and stuff like that. It looks at DHEA, which is all adrenal hormones again. It looks at, organic acids. You can see creatinines, kidney function, lots of different stuff in there. Like, it's a very, very in-depth test. Throughout boot camp, you guys are going to receive so many trainings. There's going to be so many live trainings that will be recorded and added to the portal. So we're not going to pretend to try and figure out something complex like this in one session. You guys are going to be working at this. You're going to be looking and dissecting all the elements associated with it and breaking it down ongoing. We're being thorough. We're not fucking around with boot camp anymore. We're doing everything properly and to a really, really detailed degree so that you guys can get results. No guesswork. I always prided myself on being very knowledgeable and also being very intuitive. So I would take a symptom case. I'd make you fill in a symptom form about your hormones, and I go, all right, I think your estrogen's high. I think you're progesterone, and we prescribe herbs for that. I'm not guessing at all anymore. I'm not leaving that up to at all. We're going to do this test, and we're going to understand exactly what you need. So as part of boot camp, you get 3 months worth of herbal medicine that is going to be prescribed specifically off the back of this hormone test. The other test that we do that I'll show you now on the screen is your gut microbiome test. Now, absolutely every single thing comes back to your gut microbiome. It is the most important thing. We'll work through that first because it is the foundation. I'm sure you've all heard it before that the gut is the second brain. And it absolutely is, because all that beneficial bacteria in your gut is sending signals to every single organ, every single system in your body, orchestrating the way that your body functions. So we look at, functional markers. So if you look at the top from here, calciprotection's inflammatory marker. Glucuronidase is an enzyme that is produced by bad bacteria. And if it's high, you definitely have estrogen dominance. Okay, pancreatic elastase is looking at how well you're breaking down fats and proteins. Secretory IgA is about your immune resistance. Steatocrit is a measurement of fat in your stool to tell us whether or not you're breaking down and absorbing your fat-soluble nutrients. Transglutamase IgA tells me whether you've got celiac disease or not. Zonulin tells me whether you've got leaky gut syndrome or not. Our central short-chain fatty acids. Now, you can see this particular person, they have 2 parasites, they have 2 pathogenic bacteria, and they have a candida overgrowth. Now, this person is unfortunately struggling with a lot of chronic fatigue, a lot of chronic problems, a lot of things going on. And so For us to just put them on a one-size-fits-all colon cleanse program would not have even touched the sides with this person. We've got some serious infections going on in this person's gut that is probably going to take up to 2 years to completely eradicate, because we've gotten to such a stage where we have so much endotoxicity. And that is when we start to kill and destroy bad bacteria, the body starts to produce toxins, which permeate the blood-brain barrier, which cause brain fog, which cause inflammation, which cause mood swings, which cause foggy memory, which cause weight gain, which cause fluid retention, which cause joint pain. Need I go on? You get the picture. Most people who want to work with me in Bootcamp want to work with me because there's a lot going on. They don't just have a random sore period once every 3 months. There's a lot going on. They've had resistant weight that's been going for years, and this is what's going to identify exactly why it's happening and what's going on, and we can actually start to treat it. So I won't go into this in too much detail, but what I want to speak into is, if I scroll all the way down to this section here, it tests us for specific infections that lead to autoimmune things. They have found there's so much research coming out now. This fusobacterium species that you'll see on that bottom line, 95% of women with endometriosis have an overgrowth of this bacteria in their uterus and in their gut. So when we start to understand that pathogens are likely driving your inflammatory pathways and your autoimmune conditions and your period problems, we can start to treat these pathogens. No guesswork. I know exactly now from working with these tests for a couple of years now, exactly what herbs treat these. And I see so often on Instagram or whatever, people going, take oregano, it's a potent antimicrobial. Well, guess what? Oregano doesn't do shit for any of the infections that this person's got. Oregano has a lot of benefits, but it is completely useless. And so this is why we have to dig deeper than the things that Google's telling us we can do for our health, because it's so much deeper and so much more complex than that, unfortunately. These are just awesome candida markers. But what I wanted to show you here, this next section here is the normal bacteria. So Akkermansia muscipula is that first one you can see. That is the most important beneficial bacteria in your gut, because it specifically signals to a hormone called GLP-1. Now, that is the hormone that controls your level of satiety and also links with insulin resistance. So if you don't have much of this person's level is actually much better than most of the women's I test. You will not ever be able to burn body fat, okay? We can take a simple probiotic to boost that, but who knew that we had to take this specialized, expensive probiotic that I have to order in from America without doing this testing? This is why I will not guess anymore. I'm not doing my clients a service if we don't test and measure everything. Okay. You'll recognize a lot of those things. All those bifidobacteriums, unfortunately, a huge percentage of the population had theirs completely wiped out. You can see that dash DL means there is zero growth in this person by those unfortunate COVID vaccines that everyone was forced to have a few years ago. We're still seeing the effects on those people, but we can build those up. We just need to know what's going on. Okay. Another one that's really, really important that we're seeing that's coming from this Oxalobacter fomensis. If you don't have, you've got zero growth again. If you've got zero growth of that, you will be sensitive to oxalates, which means you can't eat spinach and foods that are high in oxalates. They will cause inflammation and bloating and fluid retention and pain in your body. So we've got to build that up. So I just wanted to point that out, some of the things you can see down here. If we go here, scrolling down, this here is where we've tested what products will actually work against those infections. You can see oregano, low inhibition, which means it does nothing. So you can see garlic, coptis, caprylic acid, but the big one, citrus seed there. That is the antimicrobial that actually will fight those infections. Who prescribes themselves citrus seed extract as an antimicrobial? It's not something that you go into the health food store, and it's not something you hear on YouTube, but it is the one that I'm using with my clients now, because it's the only one that actually fights a lot of these infections. But there's a step-by-step process. We've got to cleanse the colon first. We've got to make sure that your phase 2 liver detox pathways are working. We've got to make sure that we're binding toxins. We've got to make sure that we've healed the leaky brain and the leaky gut. Healing the body is a complex process, but it's just so doable when we understand exactly what we need. So jumping back now to the Bootcamp program guide, you can see I've got it open in front of me there. Basically, first things first, we need to do a health assessment. We need to know where you're at. So you're going to give yourself a score out of 10 for the severity of the symptoms that you're experiencing. And you're going to do that again 3 months in, okay, without looking at your original scores. Because if we don't track and measure, Sometimes I'll see someone in client a month later and they came to me because they were having really bad bloating and really bad headaches plus constipation plus a skin rash. And they'll come back and they'll be talking really a lot about the two things. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I used to have constipation. I hadn't even given it a thought. We forget the things that we had as we start to heal. So we need to track and measure. And I love reminding them like, oh, yeah, I didn't have that. And I'm like, yes, that's a win. We've fixed that. This is great. But it's easy to lose track, obviously. So Bootcamp looks like this. Obviously, the first section, there's just some information, but that first module has had the nervous system. So we go through and it gives you some information on the things that I want you to start playing around with. It's quite detailed. There's a lot of information at the time, and I'm always adding to it, sorry, but it's a 72-page document. I recommend you get it printed professionally. You can print it on your own printer if you want. Print it in color. I've gone to a lot of effort to make it look pretty. Please print it in color. It's going to cost you a bit more, but please do that. Print it, bind it. It's your Bible. It's what you're following along. Now, most people, I'll say, when you get started, choose one thing from module 1, and they might pick the prime breath and they commit to doing that. A prime breath takes 2 minutes. They're going to do that for 2 minutes every single day. And when they've mastered that and got themselves in the routine, then they come back to the program and go, all right, what else can I do out of the program guide? All right, gargling. That's really good for the nervous system and regulating the vagus nerve. Now I'm going to add that into the routine. So I wake up, I do my prime breath, then I walk outside and I do my gargle for 30 to 20 to a minute. It becomes easy if we see it as a step-by-step adding one thing at a time process. If you download this book and try and flick through the whole thing in your first setting, I'm going to lose you. Your brain is not meant to digest that amount of information. This is a step-by-step, bit-by-bit thing that you're going to add. Now, when you have your one-on-one consultation with me, once you have your results of those 2 tests back, I'm going to, go over your results. I'm going to say, look, I want you to go straight to module 3 and focus on this particular activity. So I'm going to simplify it for you. I'm going to give you a more detailed roadmap of what's good for you because once we've got some information, once I've spoken to you and I know what your goals are and I know what your demons are, then we can just, personalize things a bit more. So if you haven't already, download the latest one because there's lots of new improvements in there and that will be your guide to follow. Next thing they want to go over quickly, the portal, because a lot of people get confused. Here we go. So this is the education portal. So this can be found from the Balance Academy. It's not my normal website, balancebabes.com.au. The website is thebalanceacademy.com.au. This is where you log into your bootcamp portal. So this is where you find all the modules. So if you see there, getting started at bootcamp, the pre-work, this is where you download your program guide. I don't know, what have I even got in there? I've got lots of helpful shit, basically. Shopping lists, personal assessment form, there's videos on mindset, and you're going to be working through that. So there's a lot of different touch points for Bootcamp. As you know, we have our weekly call, which you can be on live every week if you want, or you can watch the replay. You have this education portal where maybe you set yourself a goal where you watch 2 videos a week. You then also have your workbook that we've just talked about where maybe you set your goal where you're looking at that once a week. There's a few different touch points and everyone learns and grows differently. Some people thrive off the group call and they want to be on that live every week. Some people would rather work their way through their book bit by bit, slowly in the background. There's no wrong or right. Don't put the pressure on yourself to have to do it in every single way. I have developed the program so that we can suit as many different needs. We all learn differently. Some people are kinesthetic, some people are visual, some people are audio. And so for some of you, you'll put this on and listen to one of my videos on your morning walks. Some of you will want to sit down and read when you're hopping into bed at night. There's no wrong or right. It's about working with you and what's right with you. But yeah, we've got meal plans. We've got now, videos and activations. I'm a big believer in activations. So as we move through Bootcamp and I do these calls, I know that I'm going to experiment with a few different times. We're going to do some morning calls. We're going to do some different days of the week. I might even do a weekend randomly. It's just because, one, it's got to work around my lifestyle because I want you to have the best of me. And if I've had a massive week in clinic and my brain's full and I happen to feel like I've got nothing to give you to show up on a Wednesday night, well, I might do it on a Wednesday morning or Thursday morning instead. So you're going to have to be on your toes a little bit and work around that. But also we're all in different time zones. We all have different availability and that's okay too. So I'm going to experiment with different times. But that's going to rotate between an education week one week where we're going to be going deep into some of these test results and what they mean, deep into topics that you guys share with me in the Facebook group. If someone comes to me and goes, Hey, I've got an oxalate sensitivity. Can we do a session on that? Great. I'm going to research the hell out of that. And I'm going to put together a training session on that. Or every second week, we're going to do just activations. Now, that's going to be a combination of us doing breath work, us doing guided meditation, us doing a Psych K session, us doing EFT tapping. It changes every week, but it's an activation. And for me, an activation is always just about connecting you with your body. Because I know you're busy. I know you're running businesses and running children around and living life. So the biggest thing that happens with women is we disconnect from our body. And we're too busy caring about everyone else that we disconnect from our body, and we forgot to take ourselves on that walk, and we forgot to do our morning celery juice, and we forgot to eat healthy. But if I can keep bringing you back to your body, keep regulating your nervous system over time, this is where your beautiful intuition and your beautiful womb wisdom is going to show you the way of what you need. It's going to program you, heal you, clear you, support you. So this is why we do an equal amount of education plus activation. And I can guarantee you, over all the many years that I've been, it started as the hormone healing system, we've evolved to Bootcamp, but I've been running these sessions for how many years have I been? I reckon I've been running these sessions for 7 years now. The women that show up more often on the live ones do get more out of it, because it's all well and good to say, I'll listen to the replay. But let's be honest, how often do you listen to the replay? I know I'm a shocker. I'd never come back and listen to bloody replays because life's too busy. So if you don't, put a block in the calendar, if you commit to Wednesday nights or whenever, I'll give you some warning when it is. If you do it live on the spot, I guarantee you'll get more out of it. But again, we know life happens. We know that you're going to have social engagements. And so there's no one's ever going to get shamed or judged for not being on live. Everyone learns differently. So I think I have blabbed on enough about what bootcamp involves and what to expect from here. Now I would just love the opportunity just to do a little example of an activation with you guys, just to give you an example of what it feels like to connect with your body, to tune into your intuition. And we're going to start that by, I want you to just set yourself a few goals. And hopefully you probably already sat with that and thought with that. So what is it that you hope to achieve from bootcamp? What do you need? It's not just what you want. Like, it's all well and good, I want to lose 5 kilos. But what do you need? Like, what are the things that really hit you and are really like messing up your life right now? Like, if you're, I sit with women so regularly, and they'll sit and they'll cry because they feel so much shame for how angry they're erupting at their children, or they're trying everything with their weight, but they can't shift, or they're just so exhausted that they've got no time and energy to give their husband any time. Like, usually the things that are going to push us the most to make change are the things that are actually hurting our life and the people that they love us, because we don't have the energy, the vitality, the patience, the calm in our nervous system to actually do things. So it's all well and good to go, hey, I want more energy, but what do you actually really need? So have a think about that for a moment, and think about, what's getting you down with your health. Are you in pain every single day with joint pain because your system's completely overrun with viruses and the inflammatory pathways are just out of control? Have a think about that for just a moment, and then we're going to do a bit of a process around that.
Connected to Stacey's 854.
Now, the music's never amazing in the background, but I'm going to put some on anyway. So just go with it. So when you're ready, get yourself into a comfortable position. Sitting, lying, doesn't matter.
Battery 30%. Connected to Stacey's 854.
So when you feel comfortable, I'd love you just to close down your eyes for a moment. I want you to settle into a position that feels safe for you. Indoors, outdoors, in your bedroom, sitting where you are, it doesn't matter. And I want you to take a moment to just check in on your nervous system. What state are you in right now? I talk really fast. Sometimes that's unsettling for people's nervous systems. So just take a deep breath for me. And as you exhale, I want you to drop your shoulders for me. I want you to consciously check in on that jaw of yours. Does it feel tight? Does it guarantee if your jaw is tight, the muscles all surrounding your pelvic floor are tight too? And if they're tight, that beautiful energetic flow to your womb is being disconnected. You are not receiving your womb wisdom. Take another deep breath from me in through that nervous system, in through the nose. If it feels comfortable, placing your hands on your womb space as we connect with our beautiful body. Take a moment to acknowledge your body. What are you feeling right now? What feels tight? What feels heavy? What feels sore? What is painful? Take a moment to acknowledge the day that you've had so far. What obstacles did life throw at you? Were you running around at 100 miles an hour, rushing against the clock, trying to get everything done on your to-do list? Was your nervous system heightened literally all day long without you even realizing it? Have you got to the end of the day and you've actually got a slight dull headache, and I wonder why? Because your poor nervous system's been in fight and flight all day long. If this is you, it is okay. You are not alone, but it's time to make a change. It is your birthright to flow through life. It is your birthright to feel your best, to look your best, to have everything that you desire. And I believe this so deeply within my core. You are a blueprint. You are radiating frequency and vibrating all day, every day. So what are you vibrating right now? What's on your heart? What stories have you told yourself today? What shitty belief systems in your unconscious mind have been running your show? Your blueprint is exactly what is radiating, which means it is exactly what the universe is showing back at you. So if life feels hard right now, that's okay. In fact, it's brilliant. When we can start to take responsibility that we are the blueprint, that we are the frequency, that everything that you are emanating out is a result of your truth, of your beliefs, of your thoughts, of your actions, of your choices, well, guess what? We take back our power. Every single one of these things that I've just mentioned can be transmuted. It can be transformed. It can be replaced with a new belief system that is more fulfilling, that is more sustainable, that is more enriching for your life. You are a masterpiece, and bit by bit, you're going to rebuild yourself with every thought, with every choice. It's not going to happen overnight, but with a commitment to dedication, to doing the work, to choosing yourself, to choosing your goals, to choosing the life that you want to create, you can absolutely 100% change the reality that you exist in. So take a nice big deep breath in as you let that land. You are a masterpiece. You are a work in progress, and that is okay. You are malleable. Neuroplasticity is changeable. It is upgradable. You are not set in stone. You have the ability to change and grow and evolve with every thought, with every choice. That is how powerful you are. That is how unlimited you are. You are incredible. So think about those goals. What is it that you truly desire for yourself and your life, your relationships, your career, your financial status, your bank balance? What do you want? What are you choosing? Feel that emotion burning up inside you. This is a soul remembrance. This is your soul waking up, realizing that there is more, that it is all possible. Feel that emotion, connect with it, let it fuel you. You are enough. You are beautiful and you are powerful. You are more powerful than you could have ever imagined. And this is what I'm going to connect you with in Bootcamp. Week by week, day by day, choice by choice. All it takes from you is a yearning to experience a life that feels powerful, that feels free, that feels abundant, that feels energized. Now, I want you to imagine yourself floating now, moving up out of your physical 3D body, your consciousness just leaving your body, floating up above you, as high as you feel to. Imagining your consciousness, your soul, your mind, whatever feels good to you. And I want you to imagine that just floating, hovering up above your body now. That's right. And you can see that beautiful soul of yours sitting down there. But at the moment, just for a minute, you're separate. You can step out of your body. You can step out of your stories. You can step out of your reality. And you get to hover above in a space of quantum field where anything is possible. And as you look down on that beautiful body, I want you to send her love. I want you to see her and notice her. Notice her struggles. Notice her pain. And if there's one pattern, one program, one shitty belief that she keeps getting stuck in, what is it? What is the story that you hear her saying over and over again? The excuses that she makes, not because she's weak, just because she's programmed. What is that one thing that you hear her live day in, day out? This is your chance to separate from it. And as you identify it, I want you to grab it. I want you to see it as a thread, and I want you to slowly pull it up, out. And I want you to imagine golden light transmuting this thread, this belief, this old shitty thing that holds you back. And I want you to pull it out of your body. Pull it out, pull it out, pull it out, pull it out. See it leave your body. And what are you going to transmute that to? What if you could? What if you were enough? What if you were capable? What if you had all the resources, all the finances, all the support, all the guidance that you could ever possibly need? What is the belief that you're transmuting that into now? Trusting that thought. What is that beautiful positive affirmation that you believe about yourself now? What is possible for you? That's right. Let it fill you. Now send it back to that beautiful being that sits below you. Watch it permeate every single cell. Watch it encode itself into the DNA. Repeating that affirmation, that positive statement now. Allowing it to move through you. Letting it be your new blueprint. That's right. What is possible if you live by that truth every single day for the next 12 months? What choices will you make every single day if that is your blueprint? How will you look every single day? How will you move? How will you eat? Who will you socialize with if that is your truth? If it is an undeniable fact. And I want you to imagine now, the date is January the 21st, 2027, 1 year from now. And I want you to visualize yourself 1 year from now. What have you created for yourself? What are the results of all the beautiful things that have happened in your life off the back of that belief system? How have you grown? How have you evolved? How's your form changed? How has your heart opened? What new neural pathways are you now living and breathing? What does your hormone balance look like now? Scales. What number do you see on the scales when you look down? What love do you feel when you look in the mirror and see that beautiful person in front of you? See how she smiles. See how she radiates. See how she loves every inch of her own being. day is the first day of the rest of your life. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be right. You don't have to show up every single day. You just have to make the commitment and the choice right now to love yourself enough to be conscious of your choices day to day. To have an intention every single morning when you wake up to love yourself. To speak kindly of yourself. And so from this day forward, may your thoughts be conscious. May you disconnect from the autopilot, and may you choose in every moment the things that light you up, the things that support you, the things that help you grow, and the things that make you feel good. Taking a nice big deep breath in. Stretching those arms out wide for me as we integrate this beautiful seed that we've planted. Taking a moment to acknowledge who you are. Taking a moment to really lean into and believe that any possibility is possible. That you could be and do anything from this moment forward. You are a masterpiece, a beautiful work in progress, and anything is possible. Allowing that beautiful consciousness to float back down into your body now. Feel that beautiful spark as you integrate back into your beautiful physical body, wiggling your hands now, wiggling your toes as you come back into your body. A new body, an awakened body, an alive body. And when you are ready, opening your eyes, but only when you're ready. I would love if anyone feels that they want to share anything about their epiphanies, the downloads, the ideas, the thoughts, or even your goals. Sometimes speaking it into existence is a really important part of making it true, and it's a part of helping us be accountable. So what is someone's goal? I'd love someone to bravely share just one goal that they have for their health, their life, their body, their career, whatever it is, whatever's true to you.
I'll go, Stace.
Thank you, darling.
I didn't realize just how dysregulated my nervous system has been. So I think that is one thing this year. If I can manage that, I think everything else becomes a lot more logical, a lot more calm, and you can think better. So that's exactly what I'm exploring and I want to get to the bottom of this year.
Love it. And you use the most perfect word there, illogical. You
Yeah.
cannot make logical decisions from a heightened nervous system in a state of fight.
And there's so
Not
many things I want to achieve this year too. So it's
So if you can make that commitment to every single morning, start with a 5-minute, a 2-minute process that calms and regulates your nervous system, I guarantee you that you will condition and train your nervous system to be in that relaxed state every single day. Now, it doesn't mean that life's not going to throw stuff at you and you're not going to have to re-regulate your nervous system 5 or 6 times through the day.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The work.
Mm.
And but if you get good at doing that, your nervous system's default then comes to be, yeah, okay, that's happening. See that person losing their shit. I see this going wrong. I see this. Oh well, what do I have control over in this moment? Nothing. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the goal for all of us.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful. If anyone else would like to share, there's never any pressure, but you're all welcome to if you would like to. Okay. Has anyone got any questions about anything? You all look lovely and content. That's exciting for me. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the people who jumped on live. To anyone who's watching this replay, I love you. I see you. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. If you want to know anything about Bootcamp. Final words on Bootcamp. Look, it's a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's intense. There's a lot of moving parts. You need to be committed, but you have lifetime access. So it's actually not. You can work at your own speed. I don't care if in 3 years from now you're like, oh, I'm finally ready to do my 3-day colon cleanse. I'm going to be your number one cheerleader. It's nothing is ever wrong or bad. It's just about, choosing something over nothing every single day. And that's the vibe. So excited to share this journey with you. As you probably all already know, I'm always in there doing it with you. I do this is, it's a program, but it's actually just a lifestyle that I want you guys to choose. So, everything that is in that workbook, I do, if not daily, once a week, once a month, depending on the activity. It's a lifestyle that I now do. And it's changed my life. It's allowed me to maintain a healthy life, eczema-free, maintain my weight. You all know I'm far from perfect. I drink wine on the weekends. I eat chocolate whenever I bloody want to. And that's what I want for you. I want you guys to get to a state where you're so in charge of your life and your beliefs are so in tune with what it is that you're creating that you don't ever eat a piece of chocolate and feel guilt. You don't ever go, oh my God, now I've ruined the weekend. Now I have to go for a run. I don't do anything from a place of shame at all anymore. Doesn't mean there isn't other areas of my life that I'm not still working through stuff. But when it comes to my health and my figure and my body and how I believe I feel about my body, I did the work on that for the last 10 years. I've got that shit mastered. My next thing I got to master is manifesting a house to be a homeowner. Still plenty of shit there, but I'll get there. I know I will, because the same rules apply to any area of your life. It's just looking at your triggers. And so we do all that through the emotional evolution process. So yay. Congratulations to everyone who's choosing to embark on Bootcamp for this year. I can't wait to work with you, and I love you, and I will see you all in the group. Awesome. Have a great evening.